I never believed a dog could change my life. To me, dogs were just animals, companions for those who needed company or maybe a little protection. I never thought I'd grow close to one. But life, as it often does, had other plans. When my husband Daniel brought home a German Shepherd named Bruno, I saw him as nothing more than a living security system. Daniel's job in international business kept him overseas for long stretches, and I had learned to live with the distance, though it never got easier. "He'll be good company," Daniel said, handing me the leash. "You won't feel so alone." I smiled and thanked him, but deep down, I felt nothing. I was used to the silence. I wasn't the kind of woman who sought comfort from pets. Daniel was my home, my warmth, my safety. When he was here, the house breathed. When he left, everything turned cold. We talked often through video calls, but no screen could replace his presence. At first, Bruno was just there, quiet, observant. He followed me from room to room, never demanding a thing. I fed him, walked him, and gave him the occasional pat. But he felt like a chore, not a companion. Still, Bruno never pushed for more. He simply watched me with those deep, steady eyes. Then something shifted. One evening, after a long and lonely day, I curled up in bed with a blanket wrapped tightly around me. I was drowning in thoughts, missing Daniel's arms, his voice, his calm. I didn't notice the door creak open. Bruno had nudged it with his nose and walked in slowly, his eyes full of quiet understanding. I gave a small smile and patted the bed beside me. "Come here, boy." Without hesitation, he jumped up and curled beside me, resting his head on my lap. I ran my fingers through his thick fur, and somehow the heavy feeling inside me started to fade. I scratched behind his ears, and he sighed gently, his tail swaying slowly. "You always know when I need you," I whispered. He looked up, and for a moment I saw something deep in his gaze, something more than instinct. That night, I leaned on him in a way I never had before. He wasn't Daniel, but he was here. And in that moment, that was all I needed. Rain pounded the windows. Wind howled through the trees. The storm outside mirrored the one within me. I tried locking the back door, but the key turned uselessly again and again. My hands trembled. Panic set in. What if I couldn't secure the house? I was completely alone. Then I felt a nudge at my side. Bruno stood next to me, calm and alert. He walked to the kitchen and tapped his paw on a drawer. Curious, I opened it and found a forgotten spare key buried beneath old mail. I locked the door with ease and turned to Bruno in amazement. He sat there, quiet, almost proud. That night, I didn't sleep in bed. I sat beside him on the floor, his warm head resting on my lap, his steady breath chasing the chill from my chest. I didn't feel so alone anymore. As the weeks passed, I started noticing more. How Bruno always stood between me and the front door when someone knocked. How he'd nudge my hand when I was tense or sit close when I seemed anxious. One evening while cooking, I found myself talking to him, really talking. I told him about my day, my fears, my memories. Things I didn't even admit to myself out loud. And he listened. No interruptions. No judgment. I had always thought love had to be loud, passionate confessions, sweeping gestures. But Bruno taught me that love could be quiet, found in stillness, in presence, in the way someone stays, without asking anything in return. He became my shadow, my silent strength. Daniel's trips became longer. His calls, though still loving, grew farther apart. I tried to be patient. I tried not to feel forgotten. But in the spaces Daniel left behind, it was Bruno who filled the silence. Then one day, I saw a dark car parked across the street, engine idling. I didn't think much of it until it returned the next evening, and the next. Unease crept in. I made sure to lock up early. Bruno picked up on my fear, staying closer, ears alert. A few nights later, I heard something outside. Footsteps. Gravel crunching. Bruno growled low in his throat, and stood by the window. Then he barked sharp and loud, and I heard someone running away. I told Daniel. He sounded worried but distant. "It's probably nothing," he said. "I'll come home as soon as I can." I didn't wait. I added locks, installed cameras. Every night, Bruno and I walked the yard together, watchful and ready. Then I saw him, a man at the edge of the street. Tall. Still. He didn't do anything obvious, but something about him set my nerves on edge. Bruno froze, watched him closely. The man noticed and walked away. Later, I saw him again, smiling, talking to neighbors. "That's Caleb," said Mrs. Wilkins. "New guy. Joined the neighborhood watch." "The watch," I said, forcing a smile. But something still felt wrong. That night, I couldn't sleep. Every sound pulled at my nerves. Then, past midnight, I heard it, a faint click. Bruno growled. The back door slammed open. And there he was. "Caleb, I knew you were alone," he said. "I've been watching." I screamed. He lunged. But Bruno was faster. He threw himself at Caleb, biting into his arm with furious strength. Caleb yelled and fought back, slashing with something sharp, a knife. Bruno cried out in pain, but didn't back down. Something inside me snapped. I grabbed a vase from the table and struck Caleb with everything I had. Once, twice, until he collapsed. Sirens wailed in the distance. Police stormed in and dragged him away. But all I saw was Bruno, bleeding, struggling to breathe. I held him, sobbing, begging, "Please stay." But he didn't. They tried to pull me away gently, tried to say comforting things. I didn't hear them. All I could see was the one soul who had stayed by my side through everything. My protector. My friend. The house is quieter now. Colder. But the love Bruno gave me, the courage he left behind, still lives here. In the silence. In the shadows. In every corner he once guarded. He wasn't just a dog. He was the piece of my heart I never knew was missing. And I'll carry him with me, always.